Shut up and sit down.
MVP Picks, your home for mixed martial arts news and betting advice.
Welcome to the 8th episode of the MVP Picks podcast. I'm your host, Mike Picklick. Very interesting week in mixed martial arts and combat sports. Lots to talk about in the news. Got a couple hot takes for you guys and some tasty betting lines for this upcoming UFC Fight Night. Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Augusto Sakai. All right, let's get into it.
It's now time for some MVP hot takes.
All right, time for some MVP hot takes. Starting with my first hot take, I think that lightweight contender Tony Ferguson should move up a weight class and make a run at 170 pounds. Now, Tony Ferguson won season 13 of The Ultimate Fighter at welterweight. He's actually 10-1 as a welterweight, with 8 of those wins coming by way of knockout or submission. I don't know. I think Tony Ferguson, yeah, he may be small at the weight class, but I just think he cuts so much weight to make the lightweight limit. And though he never misses weight, he's never had a problem with weight cutting. I just feel like he's been so dominant at welterweight. Like, why not take another crack at it? Why not, kind of revamp your career? Get a little bigger. I feel like Tony Ferguson would make an awesome welterweight. I actually tweeted that today because it was just on my mind. But yeah, Tony Ferguson look at Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee's fighting Sean Brady at UFC 264. Sean Brady ranked number 14 in the world, undefeated. If Kevin Lee can get the win against Sean Brady and convincingly get the win, I'm going to really push this narrative. I think for sure that Tony should move up a weight class and make his last run at 170 pounds instead of 155. I mean, he already accomplished the goal. He was the champ, so go chase another championship. Do what BJ Penn did. Get a belt in 2 weight classes. Randy Couture. All those guys. Next hot take is that I think Carla Esparza is 100% next in line for the strawweight belt. Jan Jacek was talking about how Carla doesn't deserve it, even though she has 5 wins in a row. Actually said that those two should fight as a number 1 contender fight, but I really tend to disagree. I think Joanna maybe needs to just take a step back and fight someone who also lost, maybe like Weili Zhang, who lost her title to Rose Namajunas. The 2 fought before, and it was like a fight of the year candidate. I think it won fight of the year, if I'm not mistaken, by a couple of MMA sites. So Carla needs to fight for the belt. She originally beat Rose Namajunas for the inaugural strawweight title, and it just makes sense. She's riding a 5-fight win streak. Rose wants to get that win back. She wants to redeem herself, right that wrong. So, and Joanna's 0-4 in her last title bouts. So even though if the 2 were to fight, and if Joanna did beat her, that's the thing too, because Joanna and Carla did fight, and that's how Carla lost her belt. But that was so many years ago. I think they're 2 completely different fighters. We'll see what the UFC does. It might shape up to be that way, because Dana White was saying how he doesn't really know what's next for strawweight. They might do Weili Zhang versus Rose 2, but I think Carla, with 5 wins in a row, should absolutely be next to Rose. That's the only fight to make, I think, at strawweight. Only fight to make. Last hot take. This one's a bit of a controversial one, but I'm standing by it. I think that Derek Brunson is the toughest fight for Israel Adesanya at 185 pounds, next to Robert Whittaker. But hear me out. I think Derek Brunson has had a career resurgence since losing to Israel Adesanya at UFC 230. The man has gone on a 4-fight win streak, getting wins over Elias Theodoro, Ian Heinisch, Edmund Shabazian, and Kevin Holland. And he's going to be taking on Darren Till in only a couple weeks. So I think if he were to get a decisive, dominant win over Darren Till, an either one-sided decision or just a vicious stoppage, I mean, the new and improved Derek Brunson, he could definitely make a run at 185. I know that, Robert Whittaker definitely seems to be next for the belt, but why not have Derek Brunson versus Robert Whittaker too? The two fought back a long time ago, and obviously Whittaker got the better of him, but man, Derek Brunson just looks new and improved, man. Just a career resurgence. Looks great in his last few fights, and if he can get a good win over Darren Till, it's all up to him. He could really make a statement in his next fight. I just feel like Izzy kind of laid the blueprint out in that Jan Blachowicz fight. If you're able to close the gap with him and take him down, I mean, it's over, and who knows, because he did move up a weight class and he wasn't necessarily, matched up in size with Jan Blachowicz, but Derek Brunson could really implement that same game plan, and who knows? I mean, I like Derek Brunson. Originally I thought Chris Weidman and or Luke Rockhold could have given Izzy his toughest fight, but who knows what those guys are doing now, especially with Chris suffering a nasty leg injury back against his fight with Uriah Hall. But yeah, that's a hot one. I know. Derek Brunson, I think, is Israel Adesanya's toughest test next to Robert Whittaker. All right, let's get to some MMA betting.
It's now time for your MVP Power Picks.
All right, let's go over some lines for this upcoming UFC Fight Night. Official picks will be coming out tomorrow on my Instagram at MVPPicks19. Also be posting them on my Twitter as well. So first off, Francisco Trinaldo versus Muslim Shalikov. Going with Muslim Shalikov minus 250. I like Sean Woodson at minus 175 against Yusuf Zalal. I have been bouncing around with this fight all week, but I think I'm going to stick with what I originally picked. I'm going to go with Tanner Boser, minus 189 against Ilir Latifi. I think Boser's just a lot younger and ready to make his mark in the UFC, whereas Ilir Latifi's 0-3 in his last 3. I think he's getting up there in age. Boser's got to capitalize on this fight and really make a statement, and I feel like he's going to get it done. Next pick is an absolute lock. Gregory Rodriguez plus 125 against Dusko Todorovic. Dusko's coming off of a KO loss, while Gregory just recently won the middleweight title by a spectacular knockout in the first round. Can't believe he's an underdog, so get on that while you can. Miguel Beza is minus 125 against Santiago Ponzinibbio. I'm going to go with Miguel minus 125. I would parlay that with maybe Muslim Salikov. Ponzinibbio did not look good in his last fight. I just think he's been away from the sport for too long, and Miguel is just a young up-and-coming guy coming off of a good win against Matt Brown, so going to be going with Miguel. Walt Harris over Marcin Tybura. Walt Harris is plus 140. Just think Walt is the bigger power puncher, and Marcin's always kind of struggled with those kind of fights, so going to go with Walt. And then the main event, Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Augusto Sakai. Going to go with Sakai. Been looking on his Twitter, he looks cut. He looks in probably the best shape of his UFC career, and I just think Jairzinho looked really slow in his last fight. Didn't really have a sense of urgency, and I just can't see him picking that up in the amount of months he was off. I just think Sakai is the better, more well-rounded fighter. Even though, they both lost in their last fight, I think Sakai looked a lot more impressive, even though he lost. So those are my picks. Again, official picks going to be coming out tomorrow on my Instagram and Twitter at MVPPicks19. This has been episode 8 of the MVP Picks podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And enjoy the fights this weekend. See you on Monday.